Animal Crossing. Probably one of the top 5 influences on who I am today. Definitely in the top 10, which just sounds so dorky, but it's true. I first played Animal Crossing 18 years ago at the age of 5. I couldn't even read then, and I had no clue what I was doing, but my big brothers were playing it, and I had to be in on it. So, with the help of one of my brothers, in fact, the one that made that super awesome intro you just saw, I got my first of many villagers set up, and for the first time in my life, I was actually given a plugged-in GameCube controller. I was so excited. My first character's name was Crystal, which my brother helped me choose. Looking back, he probably just named me after the Pokemon game, but I loved it because he helped me pick it. In the end, because of that, all my future avatars would be named after some sort of gemstone. Well, besides the latest one. I honestly don't remember much from GameCube, just small things like filling my house completely with jellyfish because I was entranced by something being in the ocean besides sea bass, snappers, and barred knife jaws. Or just watching my brother do summer aerobics, then using the stereo myself in his basement. Or even filling my basement with dressers, then filling those with bells. Only for another brother to tell me I had enough to pay off my house at that point, and I probably should. Which I was so proud to be the first to completely pay off my house, and thereby be the one to get the golden statue. For my birthday the next year, I even got a memory card to create my own town. I rarely played in that town, but I would often take the train between the two towns in the hope that I would be able to draw on Blanca's face, only to be repeatedly disappointed as I just got Rover. As my first Animal Crossing game, it was truly magical. No internet and no guides, so everything was my own discovery, but I did of course miss a lot of things, like basically every holiday. But what I did find, I absolutely loved. It's also quite funny to have Animal Crossing be your first real big video game, because later on when I went to play Pokemon, I didn't understand the concept of traveling further out. I would go to the grass patch, train my Pokemon a little bit, only to come back to my house to save. Also, I've lived with a lifelong fear of resetting any game I play. Sometimes I wish my first big video game had been something else, so I truly could have experienced the wonder of Animal Crossing and how different it is from basically any other game, especially with its day-to-day clock and But it is what it is, and regardless, I enjoyed it so much. This game even motivated me to read because I wanted to know what the villagers were saying. Although, looking back, I'm kinda glad I wasn't the best reader with how mean they are. Although, who knows, as a kid, you're really good at taking crap. Not so much as an adult. On Christmas 2006, I got a DS Lite and Wild World. This was my first time playing Animal Crossing while actually knowing what I was doing and being able to read what people said. I loved this game so deeply and played it constantly. My late elementary school years were the hardest of my youth, and Wild World was my refuge. I felt very lonely back then, and like I didn't belong. A lot of my recesses I spent reading or wandering the schoolyard with my thoughts. If I did play with other kids, it was like in a group game, like Monkeys on the Ground or Tag, but I didn't have a best friend or someone I felt like I could open up to. Wild World kind of filled that void by giving me 8 virtual friends. I remember caring deeply about them. I was devastated when Gwen refused to stay. I waited on Marina hand and foot with whatever pink furniture she could ever desire. I thought Rodeo was the absolute coolest. When it comes to villagers I'm fond of even now, it's because of who they were to me in Wild World and not their looks. They were truly my friends in a time where I didn't feel like I had many. They gave me that little break my heart needed from feeling so alone. Also, since the age I was playing Wild World is so developmentally important in deciding who you are and what you like and just shaping your overall identity, Wild World influenced who I was greatly. Like, I'm obsessed with accessories but not clothes. Wild World went big with the introduction of accessories, and as one of the new big features, I love them. Clothes also improved, but not enough for me to care much, so here I am, not too concerned with my clothes, but I love the shoes, the necklaces, the purses, and oh, do I wish I could wear hats. I actually look quite good in them, but I'm uncomfortable with how people look at and compliment me when I wear one, so tend to be avoided, which, thank goodness for Animal Crossing giving me that outlet for wearing the berets, and the pom-pom hats, and whatever little hats I just love, but cannot wear in real life. Also stuff. I can't tell you how much I love it. I love furniture, I love knickknacks, I just want to collect everything I see that just is a little bit quirky. Like, we just moved and we had to rent a 20-foot truck to bring all my lovely finds. If I were to pick my favorite social media besides YouTube, it would be Facebook Marketplace. I love collecting items. And a lot of that is thanks to collecting items in Wild World. Honestly, a lot of the plants I own, along with quite a few knickknacks, I bought just because they're in Animal Crossing. I'm also huge into planning out every little thing, after I got so much practice planning in Wild World. Which, it doesn't seem like there should be that much to plan. Like in New Horizon, you can see, like, there's a lot to plan there. You have a whole town, but Wild World, what was there to plan? I don't know, but trust me, I found things to plan. I think I planned how I was going to get so much money over every week, and what I had to do, like things like that, or catching fish, like which ones I had to catch, or what furniture pieces I still needed to track down. I don't know, but I know I was taking a lot of notes and doing a lot of planning and reading guidebooks all the time. And of course there's decorating, and I love it thanks to Animal Crossing. Basically, this game gave me the kind of freedom no 10-year-old has. I could set goals and do all I could in my power to achieve them. No child labor laws in the way, no mom to tell me that I can't buy an all-pink furniture set covered in hearts for my room. As a kid, your life isn't quite yours. You have teachers, you have parents kind of dictating what you should do, and in a lot of ways that's a good thing because you're not done developing and you haven't had that much life experience, so you don't know what's good for you. But I was so thankful to have Animal Crossing to give me that taste of power and prepare me for the day that I would have full control of my life. And I probably won't remember how important Wild World was to me at that age since, I don't know, we tend to forget things from that young. But the most devastating blow of my life came to me in 2010 when on Saturday morning I sat with my DS and my games all loose and Wild World slipped deep into the couch. I tried desperately to get it back over the next few months, but alas, the couch had completely consumed it. No way of finding it without completely tearing the couch apart. Looking back, it all seems really silly, but my 12-year-old self was completely heartbroken. Like, the most heartbroken I had ever been at that point. Later in life, I got heartbroken a little bit harder than then, but like, for a 12-year-old, I was really heartbroken. Losing the game that had helped make me me, that had cured hours of loneliness, that was my own little world, which I had spent hours of my life creating, well, losing it just absolutely crushed me. It's still so weird looking back, 13 years later? Because it seems so silly now that I look back, but I remember those feelings, and they were big feelings. It clearly meant so much to me, and man, if I didn't remember losing it and how hard it was to me, I wouldn't know how important that game was. Luckily, my sister kindly gave me her Wild World, and from there, I was able to recover little by little as I built everything back up, but it was never the same as my first town, and I always longed for the day I would recover it. I mean, here I am, over 10 years later, and if I recovered it, it'd be like, oh, cool, sweet, big one for my childhood self, but I know back then it would have meant the world to me if I got it back. Anyway, I played that Wild World on and off for the next 3 years, and by then it was 2013 and New Leaf was coming out. Oh, you want to know about City Folk? I'm surprised you remembered. Well, if you even did. Yeah, we got it. We totally did. We got it a month after its release on Christmas, and it did not have much of an impact on me. Like, I totally played it, in fact, enough to pay off my house twice, but I barely remember anything about it. Just being annoyed that my mom could see me playing, so she would ask if I had done my chores, and that I was bothered the grass was wearing off around the rivers from all my fishing. Oh, and they mounted some dinosaurs on the ceiling. Seriously, I thought it was so cool and was super disappointed when New Leaf didn't. Anyway, after playing it for a few months, that Wii's disc reader went kaput, so I stopped playing for a long time until we were able to get another Wii. Then I had to start completely fresh since you couldn't transfer Wii towns. I paid off my house once again and even got the fountain unlocked, but I only played for like a month. Like, I barely collected any of the furniture, didn't even get all the bugs, didn't even get all the fish. I don't know if just having to restart kind of like turned me off to it. I don't know, but like, it's not that I thought City Folk was a bad game or even worse than ones before. I just never got into it. I guess I preferred continuing to play Wild World, you know, the game that I was very emotionally tied to, than to play this game that was kind of similar, improved in a lot of ways, but not so crazy different. Anyway, New Leaf. I was invested long before it came out. I got a 3DS less than a year after launch, thinking Animal Crossing would come out any moment. Little did I know it'd be another 2 years. Anyway, it finally came out in November 2012! In Japan, anyway. So basically, I spent the next 7 months watching English speakers in Japan playing the game I wanted so badly. I literally took notes on what furniture I was going to collect for what rooms and what color I was going to customize them in, along with what projects I was going to build and what ones would go together. It was ridiculous! Oh, I spoiled the whole game because I couldn't wait! Anyway, it came out, and I played like crazy through the summer and into my junior year of high school. And I was not quiet about my passion for Animal Crossing. I basically tell us about yourself. I love Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing is my life. If I could be in Animal Crossing right now, I would, but instead I'm here at school, so. That was me my junior year of high school. So cringe. I think it took about 9 months of playing for me to start cooling my jets on the game. That's when I stopped playing daily and the focus of my play shifted from sprucing up my town to just enjoying time with friends. And friendship was the biggest impact this game had for me. While Wild World sheltered me from the loneliness in my life at that time, New Leaf helped cure my loneliness. Some of my closest friends with people I just adore started and were strengthened by Animal Crossing. You know, we would start as acquaintances or maybe a loose friendship with stronger friends in common. Then one day a street pass would occur, and then it would keep occurring, which led to one of us being like, "Hey, are you so-and-so on the 3DS? Are you the person I keep passing?" And then you'd be like, yeah, that is me, in fact. And the other person would be like, "You getting Animal Crossing this summer?" And you'd be like, yeah, I am. Let's trade numbers. Let's trade friend codes. It's on. We're Animal Crossing pals now. Best of friends for life. Anyway, it was awesome. And even years after we graduated high school, one of the key ways we would catch up was just bumping into each other on Animal Crossing and messaging about life. It was a lot of fun, especially since at that point in my life, I think that was the only online game I ever really played with friends. But beyond that, I don't think the game developed who I was much. By then, I had a very clear definition of who I was and what I liked, so there really wasn't a lot for it to develop me in. Oh, by the by, for my 5K community post, I asked people if they had any particular questions they wanted me to answer, and people just posted what's your favorite villager, NPC, game, and I'm gonna say it now, maybe one day I'll answer those questions, but I have a lot of trouble picking favorites. Everyone just has that own special shine about them, and I feel so stupid saying that because I totally dated a guy in college, and I'd be like, "So what's your favorite color?" And he'd be like, "Why pick a favorite color when every color offers something great to the world," or something like that. And I was like, you pick a favorite color, so when you're have a selection of water bottles and you want to know which one you want to get, then you have your favorite color in mind, so you could easily pick what colored water bottle you want. Or name anything there, it doesn't really matter what the color is, and you just gotta choose it fast. Favorites help you make choices of what you want in life and things. But Animal Crossing, it's so hard. I can't choose a favorite game because none of them are there's a different one for every season, there's different ones for what you are particularly hankering for. For villagers, I've been going at this for 18 years. A lot of villagers have come in and out of my life. It's hard to be yeah, that's the one. And NPCs, they change so much from game to game. I feel especially hesitant to choose a favorite NPC when New Horizons doesn't have all theirs out, because New Horizons has greatly affected how I feel about an NPC. Kix, used to love Kix. Now I don't care that much about him. I still like how he looks, and that's originally why I liked him so much, but yeah, care for him less than ever before. But maybe one day I'll find a way to commit. The next game out was Happy Home Designer, and I actually had no clue it came out until I stumbled on it one day in the store. I bought it and probably played it for a month. This game is where I really developed a belief in my ability to decorate. The more trendy items, along with the half-square placement, along with not having access to a full series all at once, gave rise to rooms that I was really proud of. Next was my Animal Crossing amiibo phase. When Happy Home Designer came out, they didn't tempt me. When Amiibo Festival came out, I didn't bat an eye. Then it happened. Welcome Amiibo. I went into an Amiibo buying craze. Previously, I had just bought my favorite NPC of the statues, which was Kix, but then I started buying all the statues for the RVs. I also bought a new 3DS, as I figured it would be better to do that than to buy a bulky scanner. And once I had all the statues, then the cards began to tempt me. Luckily, at this point, Animal Crossing amiibo had flopped, so I was buying them on the cheap. I bought like a clearance pack here and there until one day I decided to go all in. I bought 3 different card lots on eBay, which gave me about 400 cards at half the normal price. So I mean, I still spent $200. From there, I traded and traded until I had them all. And it may seem silly for a college student working part-time for $10 an hour to drop a couple hundred on cards, but I really think trading kept me sane. I don't think I had a single class that semester I was genuinely interested in, and daily 4 a.m. cleaning of the same rooms in an empty public building is not super great for the psyche. Collecting cards really gave me something to look forward to and work towards. A quick funny story about the whole trading cards. One day I ran into the person that put the letters in the boxes for my dorm building, and she was like, "Are you the chick that's getting all the letters from like all over the country that keep having like something bulky in them, and they always say do not bend and things like that?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's me." And she was like, "So what's with all these letters?" I'm pretty sure I did not fulfill her wildest dreams when I told her I was just trading cards. Apparently she had like built me up in her mind like as some big fantasy of like, I don't even know what, some big socialite that knew people all around the country or something like that. I don't know, it was really funny. Collecting the cards was fun, and it helped me not lose my mind, which is a great thing. Thank you, Animal Crossing, for helping me not to lose my mind. You're the best. Fast forward to the next year, 2018, I'm going through my maturing stage. I removed the Animal Crossing lanyard from my keys. I gave all my superhero t-shirts to my little brother. I decided to no longer cover my walls with drawings from friends. You see, I was a professional adult now. As a professional, at adulting, I would not be buying a Switch, as it would be a waste of my adult time, and therefore I would not be playing Animal Crossing. Well, fast forward another year, and I was marrying a nerd that had won a Switch in a Mario Kart tourney at work. Now that I had a Switch, at no charge to myself, I figured, why not play Animal Crossing when it came out? But I still wasn't super hyped about it like I was with New Leaf. When I made the decision to go to college, I did not want to, but I decided I was going to do it, and I was going to pick a major about something that I really wanted to learn about, and I was going to be fully focused and get all my money that I could out of it. So I decided, during my college years, I would be forsaking video games. But of course, I still ended up playing video games. Like, that's a tall ask to completely stop playing video games. But I played them more reasonably. Kind of. Yeah, some people would not call this reasonable. Like, my first semester, it was the 20th anniversary of Pokemon, and I didn't have a job, so I had quite a bit of free time, which led to me deciding to play through 8 different Pokemon games while catching them all in celebration. I managed it. I did it in the course of like 3 months, but I really should have just gotten a job. I also played through Pikmin 3 and Breath of the Wild one summer when I had a lighter school load. Then there was Stardew Valley, which I did a week-long binge to get through all of it before the semester started, and I totally did it. I did it all. I got the whole like things you bought from the wizard. I dated every single person and heard their whole stories all in a week. Yeah, that's totally healthy. But Animal Crossing was different. It's all consuming for me, so I knew I couldn't enjoy it until I was out of school. So, the hype leading up to the game, I didn't really follow. I think the most I did was watch a trailer here and there and maybe watch a couple of those, like 100 new facts you didn't know about New Horizon. Yeah, I really didn't plan on being able to play until I graduated a month after the game came out. So I didn't want to put too much time focusing on the game and hyping up for it when it's something I couldn't even have for a while. But then it happened. My major was elementary education, and for my last semester I would be interning, but then I was placed with a witch. Rhymes with the actual word I would like to call her. Guys, she was awful. I don't know if ever in my life I've ever been forced to work with someone so horrible. Like, through all my years working at different jobs, through all my years in school, through all my years in church activities, never, ever have I had to be with someone so horrible. I have never seen 10-year-olds cry as much as I did the month I was with this chick. It was so insane, they decided to transfer me. But in the month it took them to realize, like, oh wait, this chick is awful, I was completely fried. So I just decided to drop the semester. Luckily, I didn't need it to graduate, I just needed it for a teaching license, and after that experience, any desire I had to teach other people's children basically bit the dust. Still love the children, but holy Toledo. The other adults I could be working with not worth taking the chance at all. Also, very luckily, I had a really great GPA, so failing an entire semester didn't hit hard enough to make it so I couldn't graduate. I think it lowered it to as if I had gotten B's throughout all of college, so... that was a time when you, like, pat your past self on the back and be like, thank you for looking out for me and working hard so I could, like, have other options in the future. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anyway, with that failure, my schedule was completely opened up. I had time to get hyped, and in that hype, I decided to make a few Animal Crossing videos before release. These were, like, your typical things I would like to see in New Horizons, but of course they were all, like, far-fetched, and I really didn't think they would happen, and most of them did not. Maybe I should make a video talking about which ones did and didn't happen. Most of them didn't. And after a month of waiting and hyping, it finally came out, and boy, it was a long way for me in that 1 month, so I'm so glad I wasn't hyping before then. I'm sorry to everyone else. Actually, the first in line to get it on release day, I was so excited. And boy, am I glad it came out when it did. I work as a massage therapist, so when COVID was declared a pandemic, I obviously got a lot less clients for very obvious reasons. Basically, there I was. In all of a month, I went from being incredibly busy, like stressed to the brink, so much to do, so much that needed being done. Then all of a sudden, nothing. My schedule was completely cleared, and I was not ready for that. Thankfully, New Horizons filled that void for the next month of uncertainty. I played it like I was 10 again, and it was summer vacation. I also reconnected with high school friends. It was seriously like high school all over again. We all suddenly had free time around the same time and could hang out all together for hours. Oh, it was really awesome. Honestly, I don't think I'll ever have an experience like that again in my adulthood. Because of New Horizons, isolation didn't feel all that isolating. In fact, I was socializing far more than I ever did before lockdown, and oh my gosh, it could have been such a dreary month in my life, but instead it was one filled with joy and excitement. Anyway, as much as those days had their perks, luckily they came to an end, and I finally started working normal amounts. And it turned to just playing my dailies with an occasional day of decorating an area specifically for holidays. I did get another Switch in October-ish, and I played a little bit more as I made my New Leaf town, but it really doesn't take a crazy amount of time if all you're doing is building, like totally neglecting the making money and the catching things and like the talking to villagers and such as that. Like when I built Main Street, it looks like a lot of work. Most of the work went into making the custom patterns for the different stores, and then only like 2 days of playing for a few hours to gather all the items between my two islands, and then maybe 2 hours to throw it all together. Which is not nearly as much time as it took when I was actually playing the game. Then, late November, we found out we were moving, and since then I haven't been playing daily as I focus on renovating my grandma's house and making videos. And I actually think it will be a while until I have time to really get into my actual town. But I definitely want to make time to enjoy the game again when all the updates are out. I'll probably even restart my main island to experience it all from the beginning, but with everything there, and this time maybe take it a little bit slower because I'm not playing 24/7 anymore. But yeah, it was a great 9 months with the game. We had a good time. And I'm definitely crazy excited for building all sorts of different themed islands on my second Switch. Although I have trouble counting it as like actual New Horizons play because I'm time traveling and like I'm just collecting things that I already have. Like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like genuine playing the game, but I guess I'm technically playing the game. I feel more like I'm creating model towns, but my medium is Animal Crossing. Not that I'm actually playing Animal Crossing when I create an entire town in a few months. But I love both ways of playing, they're both great. Gosh, I love Animal Crossing. And I love the extra gameplay and life that New Horizons brought with terraforming. That's phenomenal. Along with putting furniture outside. Like, that's what we've wanted for years. And it adds so much to the game. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that. It's honestly a little bit weird to talk about myself so much, but I know I'm always curious about YouTubers' backgrounds and why they love something and their history with it enough to the point that they create an entire channel and dedicate so many hours to creating something that never may make them, you know, the money and time back that they put into it. So that's why I do it, I guess. Part of why I decided to do this video now is because we just hit 5,000 subscribers. Oh my gosh, thank you. Like when you hit 100, you're like, yeah, I've seen lots of dead channels with 100, and when you hit 1,000, you're like, yeah, I've seen plenty of channels that never really went anywhere with 1,000. 5,000, I'm starting to more be like, this is actually going somewhere. This might actually keep going somewhere. I mean, I still have doubts, but it definitely feels more and more stable as I see more and more people have interest, which is just fantastic. Although, like, just when I start thinking, like, yeah, it would be a possibly financially smart decision to keep, like, investing time into this channel, and I'm not just wasting my life doing it, then I see a channel with, like, 10,000 subscribers and videos that are only getting, like, 500 views after a week, and I'm like, oh shoot! You can totally get so far with subscribers and then it not even matter, but so far it's looking pretty good, I think. And I am so grateful, especially all of you that are like regularly commenting, regularly watching. It's just so good to know when I post the video. I like think of you guys, and I know even if like this doesn't go to a wider spectrum, even if I don't really make enough money for the time I spent on the video, which, I mean, no video is that way. I wouldn't be making these videos if it was just about money, but I always know like someone out there is going to appreciate it, and I think of you guys, and I think of like the specific people that are regularly there commenting, and it really motivates me to finish these videos. I know that people want them, which is just great. And also, it's my 1-year anniversary on the 20th. I uploaded my first video February 20th, and it was just me talking about why you shouldn't bother watching the Nintendo Direct that was announced for that day. I removed it just because of like, it's not relevant anymore and I don't want my channel to look junky, but basically I was like, I think you'd have more fun if you didn't spoil the game, and so far they've showed that it looks like it's gonna be pretty good, pretty different than the previous game. And honestly, part of why I think I still like the game so much is that during that month, I did not feed into any of the hype. I didn't watch the trailer, I didn't watch trailer reaction videos, I didn't watch trailer breakdown videos, I didn't watch any more of the like, more facts we know about Animal Crossing. So like, I didn't even know what I was walking into. Unfortunately, like, the internet just spoils things, like, it's impossible to avoid. Like, terraforming was a little bit spoiled for me, which I wish I didn't know about it. Like, how much better would it have been to have gone into the game not knowing I could terraform, and then it, like, I was frustrated because I wanted to terraform immediately, and it takes at least 2 weeks to get to terraforming. If you're not time traveling, that is, and I wasn't. So I was all frustrated that I didn't have terraforming. But if the internet hadn't spoiled it for me, if I had never known, it would have been like, Nook announced it to me, and I would have been like, what the heck? Terraforming's... My mind would have been blown, but like, the internet ruined it. Like, there was no way to avoid it. You would have to avoid all Animal Crossing content to avoid that spoiler, because people were time traveling and people were terraforming before you, and you would see their islands and be like, yeah, that didn't happen naturally, so... what could you do? There's my rent, I guess. Anyway, 1 year, that's big. Anyway, in the end, 5,000 is huge, and I really am just so grateful. You guys make it more and more worth it than I could ever imagine it being. And you guys make it possible for me to have the willpower to keep going, even when life gets busy, and I appreciate you all so deeply, and I really do hope that you have the loveliest of lovely day. Bye!